website still look bad or your designs still look bad because you just rush over to building or creating websites without coming out with a good design concept. So in this tutorial, I'll be guiding you guys on how you can come up with a good design concept and also how you could design your website or pre-design your website inside of Figma. So this is Yufkal and you're watching Code with Grace. Seeing this video very helpful to you, do make sure to subscribe to this channel for more of such content and like this video for more. Throughout the series, if you face any problems, do leave a comment in the comment section. I'll do make sure I respond to every comment that you feed in there. With no further ado, let's ride on to this video. So every good website starts with a good design. In this tutorial, we'll learn how you could do a design inside of Figma. So if you are looking to get started with UI designs, this is the better course for you. Throughout this video series, we'll be designing this landing page that you're seeing over here, and you can implement the design. Everything we'll put into this tutorial and implement it elsewhere. It could be your own website, your blog, anything, guys. So let's ride on to the tutorial series. Alright, so what we're going to be using in this tutorial is Figma. So we'll be using Figma to design, and if you don't have Figma installed on your laptop, or you can just go to figma.com and then you get started, or you can just download Figma and then you can use Figma on the web, or just go to figma.com and use Figma on the web. So Figma is a design tool that you can use to create your web designs, do prototyping, wireframing for your website, your designs, being it in the UI UX domain or even in the product design domain. So in this tutorial, I'll be walking you guys through how you could use Figma, the top features of Figma, and how, like, what is it that Figma has that Adobe XD does not have, because I've been really creating videos about Adobe XD. All right, so if you open your Figma dashboard, you have something like this. Here I've been using my Figma already. So over here you can create themes, and when you create theme, you can now create a project inside of a theme. So if you want to get started, the first thing you want to do is like to create a theme. I'll just call this tutorial, and when I'm done, I'll just click on create. When I click on create, it will create us this. So they will ask me if I want to add another user to this. So if you create a Figma based project that you want to work with your friends, you can just add their emails over here. And when you're on the free plan, you can only add just a few people. If you want a link to get, or the link to Figma, check the link in the description of this video. So I'll click on skip for now. We are not adding anybody, and I'll go with the starter plan. So you can always try the starter plan out. It is very good. Only one project, 3 files, 3 pages, and that is it, guys. So let's just choose the starter plan and then we'll write forward. So over here, our tutorial have been created. That is the project. So one thing I want to do now is that I want to create a file inside of it. So to create a file inside of it, guys, you just have to click over here and then you click on new file design. So you click on new file, you just double click on it, it creates a new file over here. So that file opening is our design file. So that is where we are going to be designing. All right, so you guys have already seen how Adobe XD looks like. So Figma kind of looks close to Adobe XD because both of them are design tools and they give just one and the same experience while using all these sites. So the first things first, this is what we have as our artboard. So the first thing I want to explain here is in Figma you have the tools bar and then you have the settings bar. So the tools bar is over here where you have different tools that you can use to create designs inside of your artboard. And then on the left hand side, whenever you click an image, or let me say click an element, you always have its settings over here. So here we just have a blank page, and that is the space which we are designing on. And if you want to kind of do some editings there, for instance, here we can change the color to maybe to be darker. So because I love working with dark colors a lot, so I always do choose this one. So the next thing you want to do now here to understand inside of design is that if you want to create anything, you have to create it inside of an artboard. So an artboard is maybe a screen of which you are working in. It could be maybe an iPhone screen, maybe an Android screen, it could be a tablet, it could be a laptop, it could be a desktop. So this tutorial will be working with desktops. So what I want to do is you come over here. So here you have frames. You can choose from frame sections, but I use frames most often. Over here you just have some shapes. So you have rectangle, line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, star, and you can place an image or a video. Over here, this is the drawing tool. Like you can use a pencil to draw or a pen. Here is the text and many others, guys. So you can search from other libraries and then you can even add comments inside of your design. So the first thing you want to do here is to create an artboard, and we'll be creating an artboard. So when I click on artboard over here, you see the settings come out on the right hand side where I can choose between what I want. We'll be going for desktop, and then that is it. So when we have this desktop, there are many things that you always have to take into consideration while doing your designs. The first things that you have to take into consideration is your layout. So inside of your artboard, you want to create a layout that will guide you inside of your design. So the first thing we have to do here is to place a grid system that will help us, that will guide us in throughout this design. So what I have to do is to come over here. When I click on the artboard, maybe I was like this, the artboard is not selected. You come over here, you click on the artboard, you can rename it over here by double clicking on it, and then we'll just call this landing page. You click on enter. So the next thing you want to do is to come over here, you click on the artboard again. So you come to grid layout, you click the plus sign so that you can add grid. So the next thing, you click on this hamburger, and then you want to choose 12 grids. But before you choose, you have to select column. You want column, so you choose 12 grids, you put 12 grids here, so you have 12 grids. So the next thing I want to do is to like change the color for you guys to really see the grids very well, like when they are on, you're using in Adobe XD. So I have something like this, so you can see the grid. The next thing I want to do, like, you can add a margin. So the margin is what separates, that is what pushes it from outside. So we want to add a margin of maybe 32 pixels, and then we want to also add gutters of 32 pixels. So this is what we have. So these grid lines here will guide us throughout our design. So now the first thing we have to do now, when you're done setting this up, if you want, you can see set like other grid system. Maybe if you're working on a mobile app, for instance, there are times that you have to set maybe double grid that could guide you to place elements inside of your design. So right now, what we're going to do now is that we have to now start creating elements and doing things like trying to create our design. But I'll always advise you that before you do any design, always try to do a wireframe of the design, such that the wireframe now can guide you to do your proper design. So when you use your wireframe, you can like sketch a wireframe on paper, and when you're done sketching now, you can like transform it into a very nice looking design. So that is how I started to like kind of design this. So I started with a wireframe, and when I did the wireframe, now I kind of now converted it into a design. So I'll be leaving a link in the description to the assets of everything I used throughout this tutorial. But if you want like to try it, you can also use pixels, because most of the images I'm using here came from pixels. All right guys, let's ride on to this. So over here, as you can see in our design, we have the header over here, and the header is kind of like white in color. So what I want to do is to come over here, you want to select the rectangle tool, and then want to draw like the rectangle over here. It should not be too big, something like this. Now let's make it like 64 pixels. So it's already 64 pixels by height, and then we have something like this. So this is like our header. As you can see over here, we have it here as the header. So we have a logo, but this is not like the logo that is supposed to be there. So let me close this also. Okay, so this is the logo we have here. So I'll just kind of copy the logo and paste there. And if you want every asset I'm using this, I'll leave a link in the description of this video where you can get all these assets to also kind of create your own design. So inside here, we'll have to place our logo, place the nav bar, and some buttons, because in our design here you can see that we have a logo, we have a nav bar, and then we have a button that prompts users to log in. So what we'll do over here is we'll come over to this design here. So I want to copy this logo and paste it the other way, because this logo here is kind of written text. So I just copy, come over here, I paste here. So this is it. So I'll kind of place it over here. So the next thing is I want to like align it to be kind of properly aligned. So I want to make it to be at the center, so it's already centralized. So the next thing here I want to do is this. For our design, we have some colors that we are already using inside of the design. So as you can check over here, we have all these colors: the dark blue, purple, oh sorry, green, and the kind of red color. So those are the colors we'll be using throughout this design. So when you come over here, the first thing I want to do is to create our nav bar. So to create a nav bar is just like adding text inside of your design. So you just click on this T, you click anywhere, and then you can start typing. So we have the home. I'll just zoom in a bit. After home, so you press the Alt, you can now drag it and drop it wherever you want to drop it, such that you can now add about, you can add contacts. So right now I'm not like kind of making it to be the same, because I know when I'm done I can kind of do the settings to make them to be the same. Let me just say mega quest, and then yes. Okay, so this is what we have as the menu, and this here is like the menu elements. So I want to make the menu elements to be like about 14 pixels somewhere. When I place on shift, I can do multiple selecting of elements. So here I've selected them. So what I want to do is to come over here, this, and then I can choose maybe a specific spacing for them. Maybe let me say if I choose kind of like 50 pixels spacing between every element, I can choose 50. So the next thing I want to do is I want to just make it kind of like 14 pixels. They should be larger, and then I want to like centralize them like this. They should be at the center, and then we'll have something like this. So this is what we have, guys, and it kind of looks cool, but not that cool yet, because we are still working on our design. So the next thing we have to do now is to add a button. So I'll just zoom in over here and I'll draw a shape here, and this shape is what we have as login. I just want to make it 40 pixels by height, and we have something like this. We want to centralize it to be at the top. Now we want to give it a color, and this should be the color. This is a call to action. You can just like copy text from here, we bring it here, we send the text forward, so we bring to front, and inside here we just want to say log in. So after this, we want to just create like shift, we'll click on both of them like this, such that we can now centralize the text inside of the button. Now we want to give the button maybe border radius of about 12 pixels, but if it's too rounded we can take it down to maybe 6 pixels. So something like this looks okay for me. And if the button is too long, you just have to zoom it, and then you kind of like reduce the size of the button. So I'll change this color here to white. I love white over that color so much, and then we have this. So the next thing I want to do is this. I will check here if our menu item is okay, like the same. So have 1 2 3 4 5. So over here we have 1 2 3 4 5 is the same. So I'll just select them now, and then I'll readjust their position. So I'll shift them closer to the button, such that over here it's okay. Here you can still come over here, and I increase this 42 to maybe 50. Now I'll have to shift it now this way, start from here, then we have something like this. All right, so we have this first. So we have the logo, we have the nav bar, and then we have the call to action button. Now the next thing we want to do is to add this section over here after the nav bar. And to add this section here, we just simply kind of like come over here. So we'll take this, we draw a shape which is a rectangle. So we'll draw a rectangle over here because it is the landing page. So when you draw the rectangle, that is it. So what you have to do is to right click over here, to come to plugins. If you don't have the plugin installed here, you can come over here to find more plugins, then you search for Unsplash. But if you have Unsplash already, you can just come over here and click on Unsplash. So when you click on Unsplash, it kind of loads it. Now you can search for random images and you use inside of your design. Yeah, so I'll just drag the image from here and I bring it over here. So here is the image. So what I want to do is I want to mask the image to the shape that we kind of created here. So what I'll do is this. All right, just kind of like make it to be longer. I select and then I right click and then I go to mask shape. So you have to check for where you have use as mask. You click on it, so it is now like a mask to the shape. So this is what we have over here. I did not place the image well, so let me do place the image right up here. Okay, so I'll now select it, right click and then use as mask. Oh my god. Okay, so that is cool. Trying to position it. Okay, so we have this and then we have something like this. So now what you have to do is this. You have to come and click over here. So when you double click on the image, it kind of gives the image setting. So I just want to reduce like the exposure to make it darker the way we have on the other design. And when you make it darker via exposure, you have something like this. Now you can start adding stuff over there. So make a living from virtual reality. So we'll have to come over here, we add our text inside of here, just type there, make a living out of virtual reality, and then that is it about the text. So what I have to do is to increase it down to maybe 36 pixels. It's still too small since it's like what we want the users to see first. You can really make it bigger, but it is not advisable for you to kind of have something that looks this big. So I have to bring it down and then I make it centralized. I can now position it at the center like this. I take it a bit up, sorry, centralize it again, and then that is it. So the next thing I want to do here is I want to add this text over here. So as you can see, the way my text has a different font, so I can still change the font over here. So I'll just try to zoom in a bit. So when I'm zoomed in, I'll then select all the text that I have. So the font I used on the other design was Mons Serif. So I'll use that same font over here. So you just come over here, I double click and I type Mons Serif, and then we have that same font. So the next thing we want to do here is to kind of add this text over here. So this is the text we have. So I'll just kind of copy this text, copy, and then I paste it over here to save time. So for you, you just have to click over here, you put it here, you click here where you want to type the text, and then you can type your text. So this is the text we have here, we have copied. So I kind of place this text beneath virtual reality, and then I'll make it to be at the center, and then that is it. So the next thing you want to do is like to create a button and place the button maybe just below this. So what I want to do is to just come over here. We already have a button created. So what I'll do, I'll just kind of like bring the button over here. I right click, send to front for it to come that is to the front, and then I can like explore now, something like that. So I just type over here and I say, okay, let me just say explore. Okay, we have something like explore now. So when you have something like this, you can just kind of like click over here to make it bigger. So have something like this. Next thing we want to do is to click over here, just kind of centralize it, right? Something like this. So we have explore now. I know the button kind of is far away, smaller than what was supposed to be there. So we have to zoom in now. To click over here, we can increase the height to maybe 52 pixels. So 52, and then now we just kind of like pick it up again. All right, so make sure that the distances between these guys here are the same to make it like look unique. So as I'm shifting up, I will see when it's equal like here, and then I kind of like grab this text over here and I place it at the center of the button. So first of all, we have already created this first part of the website, that is the landing page. So next thing we have to do here is to add some other more features, that is this card over here. And how did I create this card? I first of all like kind of created this other behind card behind, that is the one behind. I put the image there, reduce the exposure, put the text, the button, and then this other image here. So we'll be doing that. So what you have to do here is to first of all, you click on this, you increase the height to this. So you kind of click over here, you take rectangle, and then you create another shape over here. So this is maybe the length of the shape, but that is not how it is the other way. So it starts from here and kind of like ends here. So what we have here is an image. So I just kind of bring the image over here. So I just drag the image inside, and then what I want to do is I want to mask the image here to this other one behind. So what I want to do is I have to fit it this way. Next thing you have to do now is to like right click, then you use the mask. When you mask, you can double click here to like use to change the reduce the exposure of the image to make it a little bit darker. And when you're done now, that is it. The next thing you want to do now is to like add this other image over here. So this is how this one is done. You still have to create another one this way. Make sure it is a perfect square, so you can say 400 by 400. So we have 400 by 400, okay, something like this. And then I can maybe drag it this way to have something like this. So what I want to do here is just to bring an image like this. So this is the image here. I bring the image in. As you can see, the image is too big because it's kind of, so what I want to do here is just to reduce the size of the image down such that I can use it as a mask to this other shape. So what I want to do is just to reduce it. I kind of, sorry, so this, right click, use as mask, so you have something like this. So this is what we have here. So next thing we want to do here is to add the text, and to add the text we are dividing this guy into half. So from here you can see this is the middle, because to the right we have 6 grids and to the left we have 6 grids. So all I have to do is just to copy text from here to save time. And with you know what you are supposed to do, guys. You are just you just have to kind of use the T icon, this one over here. You just click and then you click where you want to kind of like type your text, and then you can now start typing your text. So have this and we want to place it over here. So we have that already. So I'll zoom in to kind of arrange this other guy here to place him to be at the same level with this other. sorry, on the same level with this other text. And then now we can still include our button. Since we are using the same button settings, we just kind of like drag the same button over here, and then you right click. Always do make sure you send to front, because if you don't send to front, it will remain behind. So we'll bring to front. We have something like this. Now this button has maybe different let me say different properties. So let's say you say purchase now, for instance. So we'll have to zoom in to kind of arrange this, and then now centralize it. So the next thing is we have to give this button a white color, or just even make it transparent. So like this. So it's transparent now. We come to stroke, giving it a border with this color, and the border should be about 2 pixels. Let's see how 2 pixels looks like. Okay, something like this. Let's just try 4 to see. And here also we can still give it this color, now white. Okay, so increase back the opacity. We change the text color to this, and then we reduce this back to 2 pixels, and then we have something like this. So this is this other part of the design, guys, and then we'll move to the next section. So the next section is this one over here, and this is where it gets kind of catchy, because you have to like have some kind of basic skills to understand what I did exactly here. So the first thing I did is this: I created this section over here, and in this section I have an image without a background, and over the image I have text Mega Quest Pro. After that, I have this dot here that shows that this is like a slider that slides maybe automatically, and then I have that is like a gradient over like the background gradient that has both these two colors. So adding it over here, we just have to kind of choose this. But before we do that, we have to increase maybe the height of our artboard over here. So you click over here, you draw this guy, and when you draw this, that is it. So the first thing you want to do here is to kind of like come out with this gradient that we have over here. So I'll just copy the color code for this yellow. So the yellow is even from here, so there's no need. So let me first of all get rid of the grid, so that when we are copying the colors, we will not have any problem. So when you want to hide the grid, you just come over here, you click on this eye icon, it hides the grid. So we'll come over here, you want to come to color fill, and then over here you want to select solid. You take linear. When it's linear, you want to drag it this way to this point, and then you want to drag this one this way. So this is what I mean. So you have this, such that over here you want to choose color. So you take this pencil icon and you choose color, this color yellow, you take it up. Okay, you zoom out, you zoom in this way. This other color here, you want to pick this. So this is how the color is. So over here I can just add another color here, and then just the same yellow color, just to make it more brighter. So that is how I created that gradient, and as you can see, this is the gradient. So the next thing I want to do is to bring in our image without a background. So it is a Mega Quest image without a background, and then here is the image here. So this is it, Mega Quest Pro. So I just select the two, I kind of like centralize this guy to be at the center, such that we have this. So this is it. So the next thing I want to do is like to put the Mega Quest Pro, or just copy the text over here and paste it. So you know what you will do is just to click on this icon here and you type it manually. So I'm just doing this such that the tutorial will not be just far way too long for you guys to watch. We'll bring in the Mega Quest Pro. So we just try to make it at the center, and then also let's check, is it 32 pixels? Okay, so it's okay. So next I want to do is these circles over here. So this one's here showing that it's kind of in form of a slider. So what I'll do is I'll just come over here to this rectangle. I choose Eclipse, I'll zoom in, then I create. So for you to be able to create perfect circles, when you click this, you press shift, then you can now start creating your circles. So when you're done creating one, you press now the Alt key. You can now drag and duplicate them. Now there are two. I can press select the two out, I duplicate to form two, and if you want 10 more, you can select all again, Alt, then now you just kind of add more. So I want to make this guy here to have maybe this yellow color to make sure, like, to show that it is being selected. Then now I'll Control G to group them, and then I'll just kind of drag them over here. I zoom out such that I can now click over here, and then I kind of make them centralized. So that is all. So you can create your own the way you want to do it, but this is basically how I did create the whole of this section. So the next thing you want to do here is to create this other section here that says let's explore more Mega Quest Pro. So what I want to do here is, first I'll just kind of copy this text because it is a heading text. It's not something that will be too difficult for you guys to kind of do. So before I do that, I have to come over here and I increase the width of this so that we'll have more space to include this design. And this video is kind of getting longer. I never wanted this video to be this too long, and we'll just have to proceed. So I come over here, I'll copy this since I don't want to go through all this. But if you want detailed tutorials, you can always leave a comment in the description. Sorry, you can always leave a comment in the video for me to know that you need something in detail, such that when next I'm creating the video, I'll try to make it real detailed. And if you still find difficulties kind of coming out with this kind of design, watch my tutorial link above about creating videos, about creating a design inside of Adobe XD. So here, how did I create this thing? It's just like coming again to images, to colors. So I have basically two colors over here, and this one here is kind of, the opacity is reduced, so the opacity is not that high, such that we have something that looks like this. So we have two colors, the same what we did here. That is how you could add color to this text. That is a gradient color. So the next thing I want to do here is to create one of these items, and then we can duplicate it to form other ones. So what I have to do here is to come, first things first, we'll on our grid. So you open the grid such that the grids can guide you on how to do your designs. So here you have to click here, you have your grids open, and then now you come here, you select rectangle. So you want to create a rectangle over here that takes 3 grids. All right, so it can be a bit longer than this. So the first thing you want to do here is this. You want to like copy and paste the same thing, and then you kind of shift it upwards because you insert an image here, and I think this is still too small, so I'll just have to like increase the width out to this. Okay, so I'll bring an image and fit, that is, I'll feed an image here. Okay, so I'll just bring one of these images, and then we have, this is the image. You press shift, you can now reduce the image without any problem. So you have this. So you have this. Ever when you're done, you always right click and you click and you mask it up so that you can now increase it this way. So the next thing you want to do is this. We have some text, Mega Quest Pro, so I'll just copy the text. So when you're doing the designs, always do try to kind of align the text to be properly aligned. For instance, I have some small spacing from here, so you maintain the spacing all through your design. So over here, I can just like paste here, and then I'll just drag it inside of our design. But when you check over here, when I zoom in, the first thing you want to do is that this spacing here. So you can always do measure the spacing by creating and not taking another shape, and then you like kind of measure the spacing you want. So for instance, I want it to be 24 pixels. So we write 24 in such a way that it will guide us now to position these other elements. So if I kind of shift it this way, I can now bring this shape here, and then when I bring it until I have it here touching it, that is okay. Mega Quest Pro, until it touches it, it's okay now. And when I'm done, I just get rid of, oh my god, I just get rid of the shape. So when you're done now, that is it. So the next thing you want to do is to like add that button that you saw. So over here, we can just copy this other button here. So in our upcoming tutorials, I'll show you the advanced features of how you could work inside of Figma by creating components and reusing them all through your designs, the same way we did for Adobe XD. You can check the tutorial. I'll link in the description of this video. So I'll just kind of copy this such that I paste it here. So the first thing is to send to front, and then I can now just bring it over here. So now for you to be sure enough, you always will try to check if the distance from here, 36 pixels, 24 pixels. So I want to make it the same. So I'll zoom in very well so that I can see the pixels myself, and then I take it down this way, and then now it's check 24 pixels all through. Okay. Okay, so when you have this created, the first thing you want to do is to kind of select like the whole of this. When you select it, what you want to do is to come over here, and first of all you have to group this. So when you select this, you Control G, you group it up, and then when you group it, you can now kind of make it to be a duplicate, and then like to make it to be a duplicate. So duplicating, you just place Alt, and then now you can just kind of drag and drop, drag and drop. Always do make sure that the spacing is the same like this, and then you have something like this. So we just have 3 of them. So what I'll do is I'll still group them, Control G. I can now make them to be at the center like this, so we have something like this. So this is this. So I'm sure here we have 1 2 3 4, and the other way we have 2. So what you have to do here now, when you are done with this duplicating and changing, you just have to kind of, that is, you have to just change the images and the text if you want. That is, you have to do it. So here I want to select here, and then I want to get maybe a different image and then add it over there. So when you're done, you can just proceed. You can like reduce the sizes, and then you add another image to enter over there, since I don't want it to look kind of different. We just have to leave it the way it is, such that now we can continue with our design. So next thing I want to add inside of this design here is this section over here. So this section here is just having a mega quest on the other side and kind of like an email listing something. So what you do here is just kind of create another section, and as you see, this other section here is not like this other one, so it kind of it stretches out all through, and it has like the same background as this other one. So we need to create another section over here and give it that same color. So if you create it this way, the next thing you have to do is to come over here, you choose linear, and our first color here should be this, and the second color should be this. So what we have to do is to just kind of like rotate it this way. So we take it here, something like this, and then we have this color. So the next thing we want to do is to draw this over here. So before we do that, we have to on the grid such that we can see what we are doing and to be guided by the grid. So over here we have our grid. You just have to bring the grid here, we increase the height, then also here we make it to take 6 grids, you zoom, you reduce. Over here always do make sure that everything kind of looks good, that is centralized, all those stuff. So this we make it at the center, we give it 12 pixels border radius, and then you zoom out. So the next thing is you need to look for the mega quest and kind of fit it here. So I just drag this and bring it over here, and here we have our mega quest. I just kind of put it over here, and then something like this, we place it here. So next thing I want to do is to create like a form inside of this, that is inside this section. We should have like a form, so we have to put form elements inside here, something like this. It should end here, a height of 52 pixels, 52. So with this we just have to give it a radius, like you click on the stroke to give it a radius. We change the color to this, we can make it 2 pixels, and then we can now duplicate it to have to form other ones. So here press out, Alright, so you have a design like this. So that is it. So next you want to do here is just add like a footer menu, and a footer menu is just like the same menu you have up, but it has now icons. So we just have to come up, we copy that same menu. So I'll zoom in, you just kind of like copy, we paste here, so we bring it here. So the next thing we want to do is to add like now social media icons, and the best site where I use like when I get social media icons, I have Bootstrap icons, and I have Google Material UI icons. So I always go with Bootstrap because they have social media icons, because sometimes Google Material UI icons don't have them. And then we could just like kind of copy them from here because we already have them in this design over here. So I'll just copy them from here and we paste over there. So we copy, come over to our design here, and then we kind of paste here, and then we have our icons. So, and here we are through with the design, and if you look at our design, it might not necessarily like look directly the same because this is kind of a tutorial. I didn't take so much time to do the design. As you can see, this image here, we did not kind of work on the exposure so much. So here we can just kind of like reduce the opacity again, something like this. So we have this wonderful design that is here. So you can see from what we were trying to design here, you see how it looks like, and then this is our end result. Let me just kind of try to view it such that we see. So from it, so guys, if you did like the video, please do leave a like, subscribe if you want to see some of these videos, how you could convert such a design into a website in less than no time. So that is what we do in this on this channel. So here is our design. As you can see, we have over here, we have the nav bar, and then we have this landing page over here with this button, explore now. And then if you scroll down, you meet this section here where you can click to purchase. I have this image over here, Mega Quest Pro, and this is some sort of like a slider. So you have this one, let's explore Mega Quest Pro. So here you can like add different images, different where you click buttons to explore more. You have the email, so to subscribe for your email listing, and then you have like the footer where you have other information about you. So if you did like this, I'll be leaving a link in the description to all the images and resources we used inside of this tutorial. And if you want or you face any problems following up the tutorial, do leave a comment such that I will know like how to help you so much or interact with you inside of the comment section. With no further ado guys, this is our design, and see you in our next tutorial.